Apologies, I just got that message that's not been recorded, so sorry for that, just adding that. So these are the topics we'll be going through today. Introduction. We introduce you to the world of software testing. What is the importance of testing in a software development lifecycle? What is testing lifecycle itself? What is software testing lifecycle? There's difference between software development and software testing. And we'll talk about this. What do we mean by test planning? What are the various types of testing? Which one of the various types of testing is API testing, application programming interface testing? It all goes about integration testing. What is the difference using the terminology verification and validation, quality assurance and control? All these terminologies are quite different. We're just giving you the tip, the nuggets, or the tip of the iceberg about software testing. Bug reporting. What tools do we use for bug reporting? What is it about bug reporting that we need to know? And what do we even mean by bug? It's not the bug that flies, it's not the cockroaches or the spiders and all that. But in software testing, there's what we call a bug. So all these things is what we will discuss about. We'll talk about it and we'll pass some knowledge down to you guys. And when the knowledge is being passed, if you feel you want more of the knowledge, then fine, you jump on the main course. And let's get started about introduction to software testing proper. So I know some people, like I said, would have done some self-study, done some research, or would even be software testers on the call right now. Or they want to know more about software testing. And the first word I used to tell people is software testing is a process used to identify the correctness, completeness, and quality of a developed software. What do we mean by correctness? What do we mean by completeness? What do we mean by quality? If you go to the market and you say you want to buy a phone, I like using things that we all engage with on a daily basis. You want to buy a phone and you bought a new phone and you get home and open the brand new phone. You are the one that opened it, not the one we buy in Alaba market, the brand new one. You opened it and you could see everything is still looking brand new. You turn it on, inside the batteries, charge it for a few minutes to switch it on. You switch it on and the first thing you could see is when it turned on, you're pressing the key number 1, it's displaying A or it's displaying number 7. And you press the key number 8, is instead of it to display 8, it's displaying number 2. What would you say there? Is that correct? Is that application complete? Is it giving you the quality that you require? Is it producing what you need to produce? It is a process of executing a program. It needs actually for it to be complete. If it's not complete, there's no how you know this application is working as expected. Because the thing is, when you have all this on your phone and the phone is not working as it's meant to work, you would say, wow, this is not right. This wasn't developed properly. This is not working as I want it to work. Definitely the quality is not being built into the application. And by so doing, you know that, oh, this is not fit for purpose for me. It's not meeting what I want it to meet. And it's not what I expect. It's not doing what I expect it to do. It is a process of executing a program or application under positive and negative condition. What do we mean positive and negative condition? What does that mean? You can do it manually, you can do it automatically. It all depends. Because the thing is, as a software tester, if you're on a website now, a good example as well. If you're on a website and you're shopping, which we all do on a normal basis, and when you click on a material or cloth or dress, it might be a blue dress or black jean you want to buy, or footwear, anything, and you've added it to the basket, just one item. And when you get to the checkout, you're seeing something different entirely. Would you be happy with the website? Would you feel it is right? Or even you on a daily basis, when you go through some information, you're reading a newspaper, for example, and you could easily spot the errors, the spelling errors, the mistakes that they do. The designs are they're not designed properly. It's not conjunctioning properly. All these things are what software testers correct. Is a spelling error? Is it the design is not configured right? Is it the website is not working as expected? Or you're on the website, you're clicking on an application, you're clicking on the button for you to open into another page. And these buttons are not working as expected. The functionality is not working as expected. There, there's something wrong there. And this is what software testers do. We want the application to be correct. We want it to be complete. We want the quality of whatever has been developed to be spot on. And that is why you're there. I tell people that I see myself as the last funnel of every application or project I work on. If I certify a project that is, yes, it's good to be deployed into the public, then I have some guarantee that, yeah, before you can spot a defect on it, then probably you're using a more of a microscope eye to saturate, because you need that attention to details as a software tester. And when you have that attention to details, then you can see yourself developing and growing further in life. And that is what software testers do. It's about having that attention to details. It's about satisfying your customer's need. It's about meeting their expectation and making sure that whatever product or application you guys are building is fit for purpose. It meets the application and is even meeting the expectation. Because the thing is, customers' expectation is key, especially in anything they're using their money to get. So now, what it needs as well to understand what the specifications are. What are the requirements? What do you mean by functional and non-functional? How do you perform? What are the scalability, the reliability, and also the security of the software testing? All this goes hand in hand with you having an understanding of what a software tester do. And now we come to why software testing. I believe if I ask most of you now that, why do you think software testing is important? You would have an understanding of what we're talking about now. You'll be able to tell me one or two things about why software testing. First of all, it is important and very, very important to carry out software testing on anything we are producing. Any application, any project you're working on, it needs to be tested and certified. A good example as well is if an airplane is just built now, completely built, they just went to get all the parts and everything from the manufacturer, fix them together, bang, the plane is ready. And they say, oh, Mr. Wale, we've not tested, we've not flew this plane, but we just got all the parts and particles and everything. We assembled it together, but we believe it's good, it's very good. Do you want to jump on the plane so we can have a quick fly around with it? I want to guarantee that virtually 100%, nobody will say yes, they want to test it, or they want to not even test, they want to fly with the plane when it's not yet tested. Nobody. And why are we doing this? Why do we think nobody will want? Because it's not tested. It's not properly tested and certified that yes, it is fit for purpose. It's not certified that yet it meets the intention of it being built. What is the intention? To fly people. And that is why software testers are always available. The market for software testing is extremely hot cake if you're serious about it. And that's why I tell people. Effective software testing delivers quality of software product, which satisfy the user's requirement, the user's need, and their expectation. You wouldn't tell me that you would go and buy a brand new car today, and just before even you take it out of the garage, the tire just punctured, all just by itself without it hitting a nail or anything. fine, there's possibility of such happening, or even the brake or the handbrake just failed. There's 100% possibility of something is not right. Something is not being tested properly. And that's why you see most new cars now, they'll tell you they're doing a recall. And what are they doing a recall about? Because they're finding on a daily basis that whatever they've done before, the quality needs to be improved. It's not even meeting people's requirements anymore. And people's expectations are going high on a daily basis. And also on our daily lives, we all have phones. And when we're using our phones on a daily basis, you see the phones will tell you software upgrade, software upgrade, software upgrade. What are they upgrading? If you look through it, they'll tell you bug fixes. What is the bug they're fixing? You might not observe it, I might not observe it, but their testers on a daily basis keep doing the tests. And why they're doing it? To improve their product quality so that they can meet your satisfaction. And at the same time, they want their customers' trust and confidence. Because if they don't improve that application or that mobile phone you're using, within a short period of time, it's not going to be fit for purpose. It's not meeting what you want it to do anymore. It's not meeting your expectation, and it's not meeting your need. A good example, which I normally like using, is in the early 2000s, I think a mobile phone was in the vogue called BlackBerry. Most people were using BlackBerry. Why? Because you could easily chat without spending money, send the BBM, get your pins and exchange numbers, but they didn't improve their quality. Within a matter period of time, it's phased out. Nobody's using it now. Why? Because they weren't meeting customers' need anymore. WhatsApp came in with improved quality, improved delivery, and took over. And that is where software testing comes in. You need to constantly improve yourself to meet your customers' demand. You need to constantly improve yourself to meet your customers' need. You need to constantly improve yourself to give them the best of the expectation they're requiring from you. Without a good software tester, your organization, or even the project you're working on, would not be able to achieve this. And that is where myself and yourself will come in the near future as a software tester to work on some applications that when it's being deployed to the public, to people to start using, the difference will be so extreme and they'll say, wow, this is different to know. So who should do testing? Who should test? We've got a lot of people that can test. Myself can test, yourself can test, but within a project, there are some particular people who are designed or who are required to carry out the test. We have the developers. They are the ones that develop the applications. They build it from scratch. They know how the wireframes are being connected at the back end. They understand the pages. They understand everything about the website. They understand everything about the application. From when it's being from the beginning all the way to when it's being deployed, they understand it correctly. Deployed into the test environment for you to do a test. Yes, they do have a solid understanding. Why? Because they've been from the requirement gathering, they understand it as well. So why do developers test? One, they understand the system, but at the same time, they are not testing rigorously the way you, a tester, will test. They're testing because they are the one that built it. They just want to know, they know that, yes, I built it, it's working, it's good. They push it aside. And why do developers test? They are driven by deadlines. Because you have a deadline given to them, they need to develop a particular set of code for the website to look like this within a particular period of time, especially if the organization or the project is in an agile environment. All these things is what need to be structured out. And when they do that, they move it to you, the tester, or to me, the tester. And this is where your skills come in. This is where your expertise come in. This is where your knowledge comes in. Why do you need to test? We test there so that we learn about the application. We learn about the system. Most people, when they open their new phones now, They don't go through the manual anymore. And I want to guarantee almost 100% of us don't go through, or 99.9% of us don't go through manual of most of the products we buy. But the hidden truth is these manuals, they have more information than we know on it. And that's why sometimes when some of us go through those applications or gadgets and we feel like, oh, we're stuck somewhere, what do? We run back to the manual and start looking through the manual to correct our path. But here, testers already who have carried out the test, based on the test they've done, that's how they write the manuals out for me and for you. These are part of the things that testers do as well. They'll give you the best process of how to achieve the quality you want from that product. Why? Because they've learned from it. And that is what it is. And also, the attempts to break the application. What do I mean by break? I'm not talking about physically breaking something. I'm talking about physically making the application to go through stress, to go through some kind of unimaginable path that you can imagine. You can be on a website now, and sometimes you just have to reason out of the box. If the website is saying, go to your login page, log in. From your login, go to your home page. From your home page, click on the product you want to buy, add it to the basket. There are 1,000,001 ways you can achieve that, adding a particular product into the basket. You can first of all go on the home page. From the home page, add it to the basket. From the basket, it's going to require you to log in. All those parts are paths by which you want to break the application. There are various paths you can create. It doesn't have to be the happy journey always. It doesn't have to be the right way you take. And that is where the positive and the negative testing comes in. All these things are what you need to understand that, okay, I'm testing or I'm carrying out a software test on a particular product. Why am I doing that? I want to break it. I want to find out every possible scenarios to kill this thing so that I break it. I let the developer know that I've done more than he can imagine. And when you are carrying out a test, you need to have it at the back of your mind that whatever I'm doing, I want to derive quality. The bottom line of every software tester is to derive quality of whatever product they're working on, whatever project they're working on. If you're working on a project, a banking application, for example, where you can easily transfer money, send money to someone, receive money, see your bank account and all that, do every transaction you can do on your phone. Yes, you can do that. But some people came in with quality. You can also buy your credits on it, top up your mobile phone. Some people came with quality. You can as well pay your bills on it. Some people came with quality. You can even send money to people just by knowing their phone numbers. So all these things are quality that are being brought into software products, developing a product by itself. Thank you so much, Mr. Wale, for that. Yes, as we can see. So as I'm talking, Wale is dropping some key informations into the chat as well. And at the same time, who should test? Everybody test. Mate, let me tell us this basic truth and the simplest truth in this world. When you open a new phone, even if you buy a phone, it doesn't have to be new. If you buy a phone anywhere in the world today and you start it, they will ask you some key information. Do you want them to be monitoring how you use the phone so that they can be collecting data or collecting information? And they'll give you basically because they want to improve the application. Why are they doing that? They're doing that because they're using you as a tester. If you understand what I'm saying, they are using you, they are using the mobile phones or even the website as a tester. Because wherever the phone breaks, if it hangs, it's sending informations to them. And that's why when anything happens, they tell you, do you want to send the whatever log to so people? If you click on yes or cancel, those are the things that are correlating. When they correlate such information, you have done a test for them. And it is that information they'll now use to improve their products. And when they see 10 people, 20 people having the same issues, they'll roll out a new version. And that's why you see version 15.1.2, 15 point something, version 14, a new software product upgrade. What are they upgrading? At the bottom, they'll tell you bug fixes. It might just be 2 lines of bug fixes they've done, but that bug fixes they've done is quite important to their product. It is very important to them. If it's not important to them, they won't fix it. And these are the major reasons why it is very important for software testers to be involved from the beginning of most product initiation phase. If you want to start a project, please employ a software tester. Let's get on board. And when you get on board, you will get the best out of the application. And that is why software testing is a very, I'm sorry to say, it is one of the hottest jobs now in the market. And basically because of this COVID, it's increased the demand for software testing. If I'm not mistaken, 30% more than it used to be in 2029. Everywhere in the world, they're building products and products. Why? Because the work from home has come to stay. The application people are using on a daily basis is improving. We are now in a technology world. So anybody rolling out anything to the public need to quality assure it properly before it is released to the public to use. Otherwise, you lose money. Nobody's going to buy a product. And within a short period of time, you're on the loss. You face out, you shut down. And it's not anyone's fault. It's because you didn't put somebody like me into your product to quality it for you so that people can use. And that's why we are very, very hot in the market. So I would advise anybody who feels or who think they want to be a software tester, please jump on it. It's not going to cost you anything. So what is an error? What do we mean by defect or bug? Or what do we mean as something has failed? Or it's got a fault or is a failure? We need to understand that all these terminologies are interchanged. People use them mistakenly. Even myself, I do. I'm not going to take it out. I do. But when I had the knowledge, I know when to use is an error. I know when to use, oh, there's a fault here. And I know when to use, oh, this thing has failed or is a failure. So let's get down now, bring yourself back into the software testing world. Or even let's use a normal day-to-day life environment. I like using the word, the build the house when you want to build a house. Because the thing is, when you want to build a house, your architect will give you a design, the design of what you envision, how you want your house to look like. A 2-bedroom in the top with a top floor swimming pool, you know, all those lovely things you've been dreaming about, you know, speak it out to your architect will run with it, draw the design out. I'm just trying to give you a good example of how software development life cycle goes, because you telling the architect what you want, you're telling him your requirement, your specification. This is the spec of the kind of house I want and all that. He will run with it and go and design it out for you. And when he goes to design it out for you, he's going to bring it back to you and say, oh, does this meet what you want? If you certify that, yes, it meets it, which, yeah, you say, yeah, that's good, that's what I want. You get your builders to start building on that vision that the designer designed for you. When they start building it, and luckily or unfortunately, instead of them to build the room in a particular measurement, they build it in a different measurement. What would we say happened there? There's an human error there. So that's a human mistake. The town councils will come around and look at it. And when they look at it and say, wow, this doesn't meet the design you gave us, they put a big X on it and say, wow, there's a fault here. It's not meeting the requirements that you gave us. Why? Because there's a human error, which has led to it's being faulty here. But if you still insist that that's how you want it and you go ahead, at the end of the day, they'll come and tell you that pull this building down, it is a failure. Because it has generated from a human error into a fault. And from a fault, it has now become a failure. That's a failed project completely. And the same thing happened in software testing. If the developer does a mistake by not understanding the requirement properly, or even on a normal basis when they're typing their codes in, instead of them to put some languages or some symbols which would make it look right, but they've done a human error, which is normal. We all humans, we're prone to error. And it does a mistake and puts something wrong, it's going to generate into a fault in the software because it's not going to meet the requirement that's been stated out by you, the owner of the product. And when me, the tester, comes in and says, well, you said you've developed it, you've passed it to me to test it. And I go through the requirement. The requirement says, when I click on this button, the button should open to a new page. But when I click on the button, it's not even opening at all, or even the button is not even working or is not functioning. What would I say happened? It has failed. It's a failure. It's not meeting the requirement. Or even on our daily phones, when you're sending messages and you type in, instead of you typing the right words and it's not typing. Now, I know AI has gone into most of technologies. It can auto-correct it for us, which we all can't do sometimes. But sometimes you still leave it like that and you see it's telling you that word is not correct. But when you now send it, it's a failure on our side because we've failed the purpose of what is meant to intend to do. And this is where we all make mistakes. We need to understand the difference between an error, the difference between a fault or a bug, and the difference between an actual failure. And in software testing, the same thing it says. An error is human action that produces an incorrect result that results in a failure. Human mistake that leads to an incorrect result. A website built, button not working, human mistake. The presence of that button not working at the time I am testing it has led to a defect or a bug on that website. And at that particular period of time, the state of that software caused by an error is the fault. There's a fault in that button because the button is not working. And at the same time, I would mark it as a failure because the requirement states that this button, when I click on it, it should open to another page. But it's not opening. It has deviated from the expected results. And what was the expected result? To open into another page. But now that human error led to that button not working, which is a defect at that particular time when I was testing it. And it's already a fault, which has led to me to fail that requirement because it's not working as expected. And these are quite easy to understand when you work as a software tester. Because the thing is, like I said earlier, if you get involved from the beginning of when these applications are being developed or from when the project initiation phase is done, you would have a good knowledge of what this product is going to be working as, because you would know what it's all about. It's just like you now that you want to build your house and you bring in the developer from the beginning. The developer will now be working in your mind. We'll put on the hat of you, the owner, to say this is how the owner wants this thing to look like. And that is why it is. You are now the tester. You've come in as the owner of the product, not you actually owning it, but you owning in an aspect of giving it quality. And that is where you come in. And now, who are you? A software tester, that you feel you can come into my product and tell me you own it? You need to let us know why you're here. You need to let us know what you're here to do. And so we say, who is a software tester? Who actually do we feel a software tester is? What are they going to do? We said a software tester is one who performs testing and find defects Does testers only find defects if there exists an application on the test? But as well, testers are not just there to find defects in products. They're also there to get involved in the quality assurance of that product while being developed and before it's been given out to the public to use. I could remember a project we were working on recently. My team, when they were carrying out the execution of the test, they were like, wow, this thing is not working. It's not looking user-friendly. And when your team is telling you this product is not looking user-friendly, what they're trying to tell you is they feel there's something better that the website can look like. And yes, they went to compare other websites that are similar to what we are working on, what the project is all about. And they saw about 5 or 6 different websites, and they spoke to me like, as a test leader, okay, so we've seen this, we've seen this, we've seen that. And based on these we are developing, we feel we're not giving quality to the people at the end of the day. Why can't we propose to the management that, why can't we do something similar to this? Since these guys are our competitors, we're not meeting the standard of them, but at the same time, we want to upscale our standard. We will do something prototype to what they're doing, but at the same time, improve ourselves. What did you just do there? You just brought quality into your product. And that is why you're there as a software tester, to improve the quality of every application or project you're working on. And at the same time, you're there to be sure that this project you're working on, if not, which it is never possible for it to be 100% defect-free, but at the same time, you can give it some 95% defect-free. And that is where you're being employed, to be sure that the application is fit for purpose, meeting your customers' expectation and customers' need and their satisfaction at the same time. But when we're talking about software development lifecycle, who are the people that are involved in the project? Because definitely when you're building a house, you have your architect, you have your bricklayers or your contractors, your electricians, name them, your plumbing people, everybody are all within the team to develop that same project, which is the house. But at the same time, in the software development life cycle as well, software development or project you're developing, you have a team of people that you work with. Who are these people? One of them is the project manager. And what does a project manager do? The project manager is there to plan and make sure that the execution of that project ensures the success of the project, thereby minimizing risk throughout the lifetime of the project. And he's also responsible for writing the project specifications, because he is more or less the one that have the first go to the owner of the project. And at the same time, manages the schedule of the project. Oh, the developer said that we'll develop this project or this certain piece of work within 2 weeks. Have they developed it? If yes, fine. If no, why didn't they develop it? Is there any reason for them to delay? So all these things are what will be stated out within the project, with the project manager will be looking into. And at the same time, he makes some critical decisions on and off, because he is the one that is responsible. If somebody calls in and say, oh, I'm resigning tomorrow, he needs to easily fill up that gap to make sure that that project is still within the timeline of when it's set to be delivered to the owner. If you tell the owner that, oh, we need 10 million and this is what we'll be delivering for you within 10 years, the owner will be emphasizing that in 10 years, I need to have this project done. And you, the project manager managing that project, now come back and say, oh, we can't meet your deadline, we need extra money. You'll be looking stupid. Fine, it does happen sometimes, but you need to justify why that, thereby minimizing your expenses, minimizing risk, and every other contingencies that you need to put in place. So that's what the project manager does within the software lifecycle as well. And also we have the business analyst. What do? They have their own roles and responsibilities as well. They serve as a liaison officers between the business community and the technology team. They are the ones that bridge that gap between the business and the technical team. And they're responsible for assessing the process. What process is being used? How does it determine that the requirement and delivering of that data helps to project that project itself to meet its timeline. And they need to understand the progress of that project they're working on at the same time. And now it comes to a software tester. The thing is, we just pick these 3 people basically because these are the people that you, as a tester, you'll be interacting with mostly: the project manager, the business analyst. Sometimes you might interact with the user interface, the UI UX designer. Yes, you can often, which definitely you guys are all within the team. You can even interact with the owner sometimes, or the stakeholders. If you're privileged to meet them, you can sit in a meeting and you guys have a one-to-one chat, and you'll be able to see the vision of them about the application. And from there, you yourself, you put yourself in that position as the owner and believing the vision of the owner. You put on the art of the person that owns the application, and you believe in that vision with them. And that is why you, as a tester, what are you responsible for? For planning. What are you planning? How the testing will be done, developing and executing your test systems. Is it going to be a manual testing? Is it going to be an automation testing? How do you want to execute them? You also need to plan out your test. How and when will this stage of this test be completed? Do we need a regression test suite? Do we need a regression test plan? All these things need to be carried out, structured out as a tester. At the same time, you need to identify the target test items, which will be evaluated by your test effort. What do I mean? When you are carrying out a test, you need to know that this particular set of item or project, or this particular piece of testing that I'm doing, is it going to meet the requirement of the whole project at the end of the day? If yes, then fine, it's good to go. You need to define the appropriate test that is required and any associated test data. I like using an example here, because the thing is, if I give you a website and I say, you know what, take this website, can you please just test it out for me? You ask me if the website requires a login. You ask me, which login do you want me to use? I don't have the email to use to log in. I don't have a bank card that I'll use to make the payment for the product you want me to buy. So all these things is what is called a test data. And when you're carrying out the testing, you would have all this created as a test so that you can have an efficient and very seamless or simple test data that you use to execute your test. And at the same time, you need to evaluate every outcome of each test cycle. In a test life cycle, we have, in a software testing life cycle, we have what we call a test cycle itself. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, till when you have the complete test or the complete project being tested. If you're working on a website, it can be just the login page first. From the login page to the basket, from the basket to the landing page, from the landing page to the home page, from the home page to the footer. All these things, you have a test cycle created for them so that at the end of the day, you have a complete release note for all of them, or complete test execution plan for all of them, which will give you a correct outcome of what you have done within each test cycle as a tester. And at the same time, writing and executing your test cases and reporting any defects, and which I remember we spoke about defect earlier. Test engineers are also responsible for determining the best way a test can be performed. And which I said earlier, if you guys remember when I was talking about purchasing a product on a web page, which I said some people will first of all log in before they start purchasing. Some people will add everything into the basket first before they start logging into their website. It all depends on where you see yourself, how you want to execute the test. And this is quite important as well, because the thing is, we need to know the importance of software testing in software development life cycle. So SDLC means software development life cycle. And like I said earlier, which I've been repeating and repeating and repeating, it's good to start testing right from the beginning of development of a life cycle of a product. If you want to start developing a product, you need to start from the requirement gathering phase. And if you remember when I was using the example of the man with a vision of a house, the pool on the top floor, and all such, he's gathering his requirements, right? He's telling you, this is what I want. I want the swimming pool on the top floor, open to the sky. I want the ground floor to be a football pitch. You know, it's giving you all his vision, pouring out his specifications for you, telling you what it requires to be done. But at the same time, if you are involved from the onset as a software tester, you would be able to tell him or her that, okay, if you say you want your house to have the swimming pool at the top, what are the things, possible scenarios that can harm us or that can cause a problem? So there you are doing what? You're carrying out the test, you're analyzing the requirement for him. And from you analyzing that requirement, what the next phase you need to do, you need to send it to the designer or to your architect to design it. Your architect will design it for you. Now I'm explaining the software development lifecycle to you, which I did earlier. Now from him designing it, you give it to your developers, your builders, your contractors. Now they start building. And here, this is the stage where the developers come in. They start coding out all those requirements, all those designs that the UI UX guys have designed. That this is how from one stage to another phase, from the home page to the landing page, from the landing page to various subsections or various menus. From each menu, you have the drop down. Other menus are laid down embedded into it. When you click on that, it opens into another page. All those things, they will code them out. And when they code it out, they implement it in their environment, in their coding environment. After it's been implemented, they will now pass it to you. When they pass it to you as a tester, it's now for you to go back to the stage one, the requirements. All right, this is what the requirement states. This is what the developers have developed. Is it matching? Is it correlating? Is there a traceability metrics there? Can we say acceptance criteria A is the same thing as what he has developed in A? If yes, you passed it. It's good. It's fit for purpose. It's meeting the requirements that's been stated out from the onset. If it doesn't meet it, what would happen there? I know if I give everybody the option to talk, they'll say, yes, that means there's a defect there. It's not meeting what the requirement states. And that is where you and me comes in as a tester. We need to test every product to be sure that it's meeting the requirement, is fit for purpose, and is working as expected. And when we see that all this is being done, now we need to maintain it, which is what most mobile phones or phone gadgets do. They're trying to maintain that application. Within a short period of time, they'll tell you it's been phased out. Now you can't see the iPhone 5s anymore. Why? Because they can't maintain it. That's an old version. Now the new ones, what they're doing is they're maintaining it. How? Because they're doing on every, I think, quarterly releases of upgrades. And when they're upgrading it, they're maintaining it so that me and you can still be using that same application. And why? Is because they want to satisfy every customer they have and improve their quality. But that is about software development lifecycle. And now this is now about software testing lifecycle. What do we mean? Is there any difference between software development and software testing? Yes, they are, because that was based specifically for developing the application. But now this is specifically for you, the stage of testing here. You need to have a life cycle here as a software tester. And what is your life cycle all about? From you being involved in the project initiation to studying the application. And when I tell people studying the application, it doesn't mean that you will see the application they're developing. You can get a prototype. If you're working in a banking environment, you can start looking at various banking applications or website, how it's been developed. If you're working in a retail stores, or a retail organization, you can start looking at various retail stores, how their website is being developed, how the application is being, or even if you're working on an ITSM or whatever application you're working on, you can take something similar to it, and you can continue using such things within the application. And when we talk about test plan, that is when you start planning out how you will execute each of those phases. What phases? How many people do we need? Do we need 10 people to work on this application? Do we need 20 people? Do we have people available? All those things, you start structuring them out. What kind of tools are we going to be using? What kind of stages do we require? Where will we capture our defects? All these things will be written out in your test plan. And from there, you start designing your test cases. What do I mean by test cases? Is this process, the steps that you use to achieve each of those requirements. So if they've given you a requirement that say when you log in, as a user, you want to be able to log in into your website, you need to tell me those steps that you use to achieve that requirement, which says as a user, you want to log in into your Facebook account, or you want to log in into your Hotmail account. So what are the steps you take? Open your website, blah, blah, blah. All those steps you need to write it out. That's your test case design phase. And after that, when you start executing them, one after the other, am I meeting the requirement? If the requirement says, this is it, to log in into my own page, was I able to do it? Yes, you execute them. If unfortunately there's a defect there, an human error which has generated to a defect there, you need to report it. You just don't need to leave it. You need to report it to the team and say, okay, this is what you found. This is the step to use to reproduce it, and let them have an understanding. If possible, give them a screenshot of it. And from there, you take it to the next stage, which is about the regression test. What do we mean by regression test? I'll talk more about it in the later stage, but just a quick one. Yeah, after you fix the application or you fix the problem that you found, or developer, you told them, oh, I saw this button is not working. And he said, oh, I fixed it for you. Take it, go and have a retest on it. You as a tester, you will check it that yes, the button he said is fixed. Yes, he's fixed it. But at the same time, does that button affect any other parts within the application? This, I'll talk more about it, and I'll give us a live example that we all on a daily basis used to encounter. So when we get there, we'll talk about it. From there, you analyze everything about the project. What are the good things? What are the bad things? You give them a summary about what has happened within the software testing lifecycle. And now we need to talk about what are the various levels of testing. Guys, I'm just quickly giving you guys a tip of the iceberg about software testing. There's a lot more to discuss when we now talk about all the software development lifecycle, software testing lifecycle. It's more or less a lot, but because we're just giving you guys some nuggets to have a little feeling about the life of a software tester. And if you feel it's something interesting, then why not? We can always talk about it and we can take it to the next level. But here, these various levels of software testing is quite important as a software tester, because you need to know how to go about them, how to execute them, how to do them as a software tester. And what do we mean by integration testing? I used to use an example for people. With that example, is quite useful in every environment. If you buy a new TV now, and the TV has a remote, and unfortunately, when you get the remote, you didn't remember to put the battery. When you point it to the TV, you see it's not going to work. But when you put the battery into it and you point it to the TV, you will see it start working. What has happened there is that integrated. The two of them are now working as one without any problem. And that is the same thing that happens in software. If you integrate a mouse to a keyboard or even to your screen, it should work properly without any of them having problem. That is what integration is. After you've completed your unit test and dependent modules developed, when you integrate the two of them together and they are working seamlessly without any problem, without any issue, without anyone stepping on each other, that is integration testing. The same thing happened to system tests. Now you have a full system. You've added all the various components, the little by little component, which I can use a mobile phone, for example, here. You have your earpiece, you have your speaker, you have your keyboard, you have your screen. You've integrated everything together. The speaker is working perfectly when you talk. When you click on any button on the mobile phone, it's displaying on the screen. So now you want to integrate all these applications, all these little modules, all these little pieces that's been developed. You integrated them into your mobile, into the mobile gadget, and you now want to use them as a whole system. How would you feel when you start pressing the keyboard? You press one and it's not working perfectly, or you speak and you can't hear. That means it's not integrating properly. But when you're doing that and you can speak and at the same time press a keyboard and they're not interfering with each other, then the whole system, what are you doing? You're kind of a proper system test, which is quite important in an environment, because a system test makes you understand that you're testing the application, you're testing what you can see without understanding what is inside the application. Sometimes most of us don't know how the screen is connected to the keyboard or how the keyboard is connected to the speakers. But what we know is when we press any functionality, anything we see outside the phone, it is working as expected. And under system test, we have a lot of various levels of testing that we can do. We have what we call usability testing, we have functional testing, we have performance testing. How does this thing perform? Is it performing as expected? How does this application function? Is it functioning the way I want it to function? That when I click on my login, it's logging me in. When I click on my profile picture, I can see it is expanding as I want it to do. When I zoom in, zoom out, is it functioning as expected? How can I use this application? Is it usable? Is it something easy to use? And the security aspect. Because this theme nowadays is when you see most phones now, is either you use your thumb or you use your eyes, or they give you every kind of combinations of passwords to use. Or password must be alphanumeric, with symbols, with characters, with capitals, all these things. What are they doing? They are making sure that the application is secured. And before they can give you those criteria of, oh, the password should be 12 digits with all those combinations, somebody like me have tested it rigorously to be sure that it doesn't exceed 12 characters, it's not more than 12, it's not less than 12. So all these things, they've checked and balanced it and see that yes, it is secured. So now we talk a little bit about all this usability, functional that I've been talking about. And at the same time, this is where we'll now talk about application programming interface, API. Because API is one of the all-test cake in software testing now. If you want to be a software tester and you want to quickly scale up, it's quite good to have a good knowledge of API. So usability testing. So what happens during this test? You basically testing and concentrating on the user friendliness of that application that you build. If you build a website and the website looks so big and the designs are not clear, it's not matching, everything is scattered on the web page, you see people will tell you that the website is poor, it's not fit for purpose, it's not nice, I don't like the pictures, I don't like how it's been designed. A lot of criticisms will come in. But this is where me and you come in. We need to make sure that this website, the user interface is tested properly. There's no spelling errors. The look and feel of that application is attractive. And that's why you see most organizations now, when they're building their website, they want to be using 3D, 4D, and make it interactive with their customers. Why? Because they want it to be attractive to people, and people will be longing to come. And even sometimes you can just open the website down and be looking at the pictures and say, wow, this is lovely. And that is what they are doing, engaging the users. The speed of the interface, how does it look? Is it that when I click on something, it takes 1,000,001 and you just keep going round and round and round and round? All these things do matters to users, because users will want to see that when I click on it, in less than some milliseconds, it's opened. fine, the internet or the Wi-Fi might have some effect. But if you go to somewhere that the Wi-Fi or the internet is perfect, and you click on it, you're expecting it in a millisecond. As you're clicking it, it's opening. As you're clicking it, it's opening. And that is what they want, so that they'll see like seamless, smooth, sleek. There's no problem with that page. And that is where user friendliness comes in. And at the same time, support is quite important. How does the sensitiveness to their users, what does it mean to them? Would it just be that they're giving out the website for the users and they don't have an understanding of how the users are using it? All these are quite important when you're testing. You need to put yourself in the aspect of a user. How would I use this website if I am a nobody? And that is where the usability testing comes in. Now we're talking about functional tests. What do we mean by functional tests? We're checking that the behavior of the application is working. I can remember I was talking about when you click a button and the button doesn't open. See, anything that involves human interaction on a web page is functional. If it's for you to click on the text field where you're going to type your name, that's functional. Is it functioning as expected? Can I type into that text field? Or even it is for me to just increase the volume on my mobile phone and I can see the icon showing that it's increasing and it's decreasing. That's functional. Anything that involves human interaction, that is what is called functional testing. It's just to function the requirement of the application. How does it work? If the requirement states that when I open this picture, it needs to expand so that people can see it properly, it's functioning to the requirement. If it's not functioning to that requirement, this is not fit for purpose. And at the same time, to check the correctness of the output. Now you have a calculator, which is very easy. The function of a calculator is when you do whatever you want to do on your calculator, whatever symbols, you need to get an output. If you're inserting 2 plus 2 on a calculator and it's giving you 72, you know that something is wrong. It's not functioning. It's not giving you the correct output. And at the same time, it does apply on a web page, even on your mobile phone, on your banking application. When you're inserting a digit, 10,000 amount, and it's just giving you different digits, you know it's not giving you the correct output. All these things are what testers engage, functional testing. And this is quite important as well. Now we go to security testing. What do we mean by security testing? I mentioned something earlier, that various combination of passwords. Why are they doing it? So that unauthorized people don't have access to your application. And that is why you see some people now that want to use their eye as their password, their thumbprint, because thumbprint is unique to one person in this world. Even your eye lenses is unique to only you. So all these things, your password combinations, and that's why they'll tell you when you're using your password combinations, don't use your child's name, don't use your parents' name, don't use your name, don't use your date of birth, all such things. Why? Because people can easily guess such things if they know you very well. They'll tell you use a combination of names. And even when your password expires and they say, oh, you need to revalidate your password, if you try to use something similar to the previous one, it's going to tell you you can't use this because it's close to your previous password. All these things are what testers have done. They've carried out the testing on the back end, tested it properly, rigorously, and before they can now push it out to you, the customers, the consumers, to use it and say, okay, now we've done our own part of security test. And see, security test goes a long way. It's a different word entirely, which is quite different, and it's quite vast when we talk about security testing. Yeah? It goes into cybersecurity, some big aspect of cybersecurity. It goes into some big aspect of penetration testing. A lot of vulnerability test, a lot of it is embedded under security testing, which is quite and very, very important to have a good knowledge about security testing. What do we mean by smoke testing? It's not the kind of smoke we might be thinking about. But here we need to understand that smoke testing is non-exhaustive testing. All right, a good example I like using here is you took your mobile phone to a repairer, be it the recommended repairer or a roadside repairer, to fix it for you. and it fixed it for you, or probably you told him, oh, my speakers are not working. Can you please help me fix it? And it tells you, oh, okay, come back in 2 hours and I'll get it fixed for you. 2 hours, he came back and he said, oh, mister, I fixed it for you. Here is it. I'm very sure most of us, the first thing we will do is we'll check the volume if it's working, just like we said. What you've just done there is a quick smoke test. You're ascertaining that that functionality you told him to check for you is working as expected. Is working as you want it to work. If it's not working as expected, then you know that, oh my God, this is not working as I want it to work, and it's not meeting the requirements that I want it to meet. So there you need to have an understanding that what you've done or what you fixed is not what it's doing. It's not doing the right thing you want it to do. And that is where smoke test comes in, a quick check on whatever the crucial requirement or the crucial functioning that you're asking to check for you is being done. We also have what we call the alpha testing. See, a good thing I like to tell everybody here, when it comes to all these terminologies of testing, regression test, smoke test, alpha test, beta test, usability, don't try to cram or know everything now. Why? Because it's a lot. Even me, myself, that I've been in the field for a while, when you tell me some of them, because people will just come in with some different names and tell you. But when you ask them to explain it, you will see that it's something you know. You see that it's something you understand. What do we mean by alpha testing? These are tested by users. And if we have a small understanding, most times when we, in some organizations, you see them when a product is about to be, before they launch it to everybody to use, they will tell you that, okay, can we have some set of people to come and test it, to come and check their application? You don't know about this application they're building. They just call you in and say, okay, let's just have a quick check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of you. So people come and just have a look at this application. They're bringing people who doesn't know about the test, who doesn't know about the product at all. Why? To come and check the product, to come and tell them where the product is not working as expected. This is often done as well. And there's also acceptance testing. What are they accepting? What are they testing? It's a formal test conducted to determine whether or not a system satisfies an acceptance criteria. It's similar to alpha testing, but here the only difference is they are using people within the organization and not people from outside the organization. So basically, people within the organization who are experts on the product. So what do I mean? Subject matter experts. So if you want to build a banking application now, and you want to, the banking application, they want to embed like a loan functionality there where you can apply for loan. They'll ask the people who are in the loan specialist to check the functionality of that section of the application. Or even for you that want to have an overdraft, they'll check that section for you. Or even for those that are doing the day-to-day banking, there are people with various specializations. They'll check that as well for you. And that is where the acceptance, they'll be able to accept it and say, yes, this is functioning. The loan function or the loan section is working as expected. Yes, the overdraft section is working as expected. Yes, the daily banking transaction section is working as expected. And that is where acceptance testing comes in. And this is also beta testing. It's quite similar. It's more or less the same way that we talk about it. It is done by the end users. It is also done by testing. Sometimes you can just do a quick, it's more or less the same thing as user acceptance test, because it helps you to determine at the final state that, okay, is this application, is it working as expected? Is it meeting the requirement under various conditions? So yeah, they won't tell you what to do. They won't tell you if the testers have written any test case. They'll just give you the application to use on your own. It's similar to exploratory testing as well. And this one, I talked about it earlier, regression testing. I was explaining about a quick smoke test on the application, which is always open to us. Is what we all do on a daily basis. You take your phone to somewhere to go and fix it. The speaker is not working. They give you the phone to fix. They give you the phone that, yeah, they fixed the speaker. What would you do? You check the speaker first, which is smoke testing you've done to see that it's working as expected. And when you see that the speaker is working as expected, what would you do again? You now be checking every other place on the app on your phone. Oh, if I go on the messaging, can I message? If I increase the volume, reduce the volume, is it working? What are you doing? You are doing a regression test. You are checking that one, the fix that he has done is successful and it has not caused any other problem to your application or to your project. And this is what happens on a daily basis within our software testing lifecycle. And now we talk about exploratory testing. You're exploring. Is similar to what we just spoke about here, beta testing. You're testing without a prior knowledge of the application. You don't have a knowledge of what the application is like. You're just trying to see how you can explore, just the terminology explore the application, just going through around it, working around it with various unknown knowledge, prior knowledge to it. Why? And like I said, they can call it various terminologies. Testing has a lot of terminologies. And now we get to the interesting part of another interesting part of software testing. Enoch.
Good morning, everyone.
Just before you go in, just want to ask, is there any questions so far? Wale, what do you think? Should we take a quick 5-10 minutes water break?
Yes, that would be a great idea, while, Enoch kind of just gets settled to present to us. I know this is where, you've done wonderfully well. Thank you. I'm getting some very good feedback. Someone that said, oh yeah, I get it. I understood it. So great job, Muwa. So yeah, we could take 5 minutes break. So I don't know what the time is now.
It's just
would be a bad idea.
3 minutes past 1 or 2 minutes past 1 by my time.
Okay. Yeah, we could do that. So then Enoch could just kick off at a particular time that we all agree. Yeah.
So should we kick off by 10 past 1? So we give them about 7 minutes. What's a break?
Yeah.
So please don't try to log out because there are some people who are trying to log in. We've just limited the number of people that would have access, basically, not because we don't want crowd, but we just want people who are serious. And you guys are the early birds to come in. That's why you have access. If you log out, there are other people who will join in and you might not be able to log in again. I have to be sincere with you guys. There are some people I've been receiving messages directly that, oh, we can't join in, Olu, what's happening? And I let them know. Unfortunately, you didn't join in early, that's why. So please stay on. 10 past 1, we'll be back and we'll be starting with API testing. We'll catch you back in another 7 to 6 minutes. Thank you.
If you're here, if you have any question, please use the chat box now. I'm
pretty much here. I'm available if you have any questions.
Yeah, and we can quickly go that through for you while we start shortly. All right.
Hello.
So we'll come back at the agreed time, Enoch, if that's okay.
So there's a question from David Odesonya here. It says, hi, Olu. Thank you for this session. When you are implementing a cloud, sorry, it just went out. So I think, Wale, this is when you're implementing a cloud solution into your environment from a third party, who would be responsible for doing all this testing? So basically,
I can answer that question quickly.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think you've already answered your own question.
Yeah.
So if you think about how the cloud environment actually work, so we have different model. So we have the, where you have a SaaS product. So if the SaaS product that, so just think about it as, out of the box, tooling or application that you're buying. All right, you will not be responsible for that test. You're just buying a product that has been tested and has been deployed into the cloud environment. So whether it's a third-party cloud or it's a private cloud, all right, the product owner or the company will be responsible for the testing. You're just going there to consume it. But if it weren't a SaaS product, if you or the organization that you are working for or working with has developed your own product, and you're doing that in the cloud environment, as you all know, or if you don't know, in the cloud, you could also do development as well. If that is the case, all right, you would be responsible. If you're employed as a QA, or your organization would be responsible, for that testing. Okay, so you must have tested the product before you release it out to the end user. I hope that answers your question, David, Odesanya. Yeah.
Hi, yeah, thank you. It does answer my question. Yeah. At the moment, they're doing user acceptance testing, but I just wanted to know anything around maybe functional testing or non-functional testing if we were meant to do it.
Okay, yeah, so Muiwa would answer your question.
So when you're talking about functional testing of a third party, basically that would have done the most bit of the testing for you guys. So what they're doing is they're just implementing it and integrating it with you guys' application. And now when they integrate it with you guys' application, before they give it to you, they would have done their part of testing. And they'll say, okay, now we've done our own part of testing. Have a look and be sure that it's meeting the requirement of what you are buying from us. So if you do a test on that such application, for example, if you're using like an Azure or AWS, which most are cloud-based now, and you carrying out a test of that, if you check it out and you signed in and you've gone into your development space in that cloud-based environment and you can do what you're expecting to do, would you say that is meeting the functionality? No, you definitely call it out and say, wow, it's not meeting the requirement as stated from the onset. So definitely you do some part of functional testing, and the non-functional testing aspect wouldn't be your responsibility. Reason why is most testers, if you're going into the non-functional area, you're going more into stress testing, performance testing, load testing, and that's another level of testing entirely, which is quite different from functional testing. And before you can do that, you will have acquired some good and sound knowledge of what software testing is all about, at least some ample 2, 3 to 4 years experience into testing as a whole. Does that answer your question, David?
Hi, yes, it does answer it, because I was just wondering, because what I've noticed, because I work as a business analyst, I'm quite new, and what I've noticed, they've not got any QAs, and although I'm doing a review design document with the just to look at the functional requirements that what is being built does meet up with it. But I've noticed all we've done is just user acceptance testing, and we've not done any other testing.
Okay.
That's why.
So in that aspect, if you're just doing a UAT, what you're doing is you're ascertaining that your users can use the application. You're not doing a proper software test on that application. Oh, okay. So yes, so in that aspect, you might require a proper tester. I'm available if you want to employ me for such tests. And I have previous students who are on the job market as well, and they're quite sound and keen. So if you feel your organization needs someone, even if it's just for them to do a soft test for you people on the application, you can always catch up with us and we'll take it to another level.
Yeah, something I'll highlight it to the project manager, something I wanted to ask him.
Yeah, because that's a risk going forward that you need to let them know.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. I've got another question saying, what type of tools do you use for non-functional testing? Immanuel Osadolo. So when you're talking about non-functional tests, there are quite a lot of tools you can use. So I just said something about load testing. So load has a lot of things you can do. There's a load testing tool, which you can, so there are quite a lot, JMeter, a lot of them are out there that you can use. So it all depends on what you want to test in the non-functional aspect. So you need to be specific what you want to test in the non-functional aspects.
Olu, given that we said 110, I think we should start now so that we don't keep those people for a very long time. We can come back to those questions later.
Apologies, sorry, I wasn't looking at my time.
That's all right. And also make sure that, let's ensure that I don't know if, we pause the recording, but if we do, resume the recording and ensure that, we keep everybody muted again so that we can have clean recording.
I didn't stop the recording initially, unfortunately. Timothy, are you there? I'm sorry. Enoch, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I'll put myself on mute and
okay.
do you want me to be sliding for you?
Yeah, you can be sliding for me.
All right.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. So API testing. I will just, because of how APIs are, we'll give you a brief overview of what an API is so that you understand what an API is, how it affects, how we use it and what goes on behind it. So an API actually stands for Application Program Interface. An application, like we all know, is like a software with a function at the back, and an interface. An interface is how we communicate. It's a contract of how we communicate. A basic example of an interface is your phone now. Your phone screen is an interface that used to communicate to send information to the application at the back of your phone that is doing all the processing. So your phone acts as an interface. Your car, when you drive, the turning, the steering wheel is the interface. Interface helps to hide the abstraction of the complexity of the whole program at behind. So an API is that entire thing, the application program interface, the entire process. So when we refer to API, we refer to the method or contract we used to communicate between the application and the user mostly. So you can move to the next slide. So basic examples of APIs, like on your phone, you use Google Translate, text to speech, all those things. The processing cannot be done on your phone. The processing is usually on the server. So that's this client server architecture. This is how most systems are built. You send your request from your client, your phone, can be your phone, can be your laptop. You send it to the server will do some processing, it's now send back a response. This is how remote APIs work. When we refer to APIs, I say, as I gave the example of a phone and how you interact with your phone and the systems of your phone, how, like, let's say Instagram will not create a camera application. There's already a camera application on your phone. It will interact with the camera application built into your phone. So the phone already has an API for the camera. But when we refer to remote APIs, that means the processing is done outside on the server. So when time you hear the term API, nowadays mostly, usually refers to remote APIs. You send a request to a server and the server sends back a response. So if you call API in this class or in this session, we're always referring to remote API because that is what it is usually used to refer to. Can move on. So APIs are usually built on different architectures. That's SOAP, simple object access protocol. I don't really want to explain all this because it's a lot. There's remote procedure calls, WebSocket APIs, and REST, which is actually the one we'll be going through mostly, is representational state transfer. That's what most systems are actually built on. The server does not store anything about us. Anytime we're sending a request, we send something. We send a unique identifier from our side to the server. You can move somewhere. So there are different types of request types under REST. This is under REST. There's GET, that's to get a request. So GET, that's to get information. You can send maybe to Google. You send a GET request to Google. Google will send back the web page. you can post is to send information to Google servers or to any server. Put is to update information, and delete is to delete. Usually, authentication is either done with authentication tokens or API keys. You see on that example that I gave now of you send a request and get back a server. So if you go to a website now and you log in, when you log in, you send the get request. No, you send the post request with your information, that's your username and password. When the server is sending back a response, it will send you an authentication token. So anytime you want to now send a request back to the server, let's say you're in your bank app now, you see all like cookies and all those things, it will store all your tokens in your local storage and cookies. That's why most websites want you to enable that, so that they will be able to identify that, okay, this guy is doing this, and uniquely identify you. So when, let me use an example of a bank app. If you log in now, Enoch, your password 1234, you send a request, okay, successful. They send you back an authentication, a token. That token is what will not be stored on your phone or your device or your laptop. So when you now want to do a transaction, like transfer some money, so that they will uniquely identify you, instead of you logging in again, you send back that token. There are different types of authentication tokens, but we'll cover that when we're doing the practical. So API documentation and testing. We're going to, throughout this our testing session, we're going to show you how to use Postman to do your documentation testing. Postman is a very powerful tool. It is free. You can easily do almost everything we're going to do about API testing on Postman. And we're going to show you everything about Postman, how to do the entire process of documentation and testing. I just wanted to demo, I don't know, Mr. Mwiwa, can I share my screen? Just to show small bits of how some basic APIs work, like
Yes,
weather and all that.
I'll pass the control to you now. So.
Okay. So can you see my screen?
Yes, we can. It's coming up.
Okay. So you can. This is Postman. This is the tool we actually be using. So I've found some free APIs. Most APIs that you need, maybe you need some information. There are public and private APIs. Private APIs are the ones like your developers or your team will create for you. Then you'll be testing with. Or public, those are the ones that are free, that are outside, or they may not be free. You may actually pay for some, like Google Translate now. If you want to test, use that one to test now, we'll have to pay for it. So let's use this API. This is a weather API, weather forecast API. Normal, this is the documentation. This is how they send their own request. This link. This is their link. Let me just copy this link. This is the weather forecast link. So, I already have it copied. Sorry, I wanted to. So, in their documentation, they told us that the latitude and longitude is required. So, this is the weather forecast API. So, we want to know the weather. So, we have to send the latitude and longitude. You can also use another API to get, because you may not know it, you can use another API based on your IP address to get your latitude and longitude. Most devices, most computation right now, because the one thing about programming or software development right now is that we don't want to always keep rebuilding the same thing, something that somebody has already done. We don't want to do it again. So instead of doing it again, we just call that API, okay, what is my latitude and longitude? Get it for me. Then you now call your weather API to do that. So these guys also, they provided us, so let's say we want to check for Moscow, want to know so it has given us the latitude and longitude for Moscow. It told us latitude. So I will explain more on this later when maybe during the class. But parameters, these are usually passed. There are different ways of passing information to an API. You can either pass through the body, that's the body, or parameters. They're actually different. You know, some links. I don't know whether I'm going. Some links now. Some links. Let's say you go to Google, www.google.com, then you see some links. They always have some stuff at the back. ID equals to this. Then username, stuff like that. This is passing through parameter. This is usually used when we want our information to be hidden. But since this is a weather API, these guys don't really care about hiding information. It is free. They're not really bothered about security like that. Their one is just to get information from them. So that's why they're using parameter. So that's why if we put latitude, this is where our link is to add it. Postman automatically add it for us. Latitude, where is the latitude we copied? Latitude is 5.55. And the value is that. Longitude. So what more do you want to know about this? Let's say we want to know the information based on hourly is returning it hourly. So what do we want to know hourly? This is their own API document. Some API documentation are kind of different people document APIs differently, but I'll show you how Postman does their own documentation and see that it's actually more straightforward than how these guys did their own. So let's say we want to know temperature 2 meters above the ground. These guys won't help us they will always put description about it and it's giving us in Celsius. So hourly temperature 2 meters above the ground. So it is going to be a GET request since they didn't specify. So now this is our result here. Can I show it bigger? This is our result here. So it's actually a lot of information, but what they return to us is the time and their equivalent temperature for each time in Celsius. Maybe this one is too much. They didn't arrange the information well. Well, I also found another API we can also use. These guys, they return their own API is to return recipes for drinks. So APIs can be created for many different things, no matter the situation. So let's set for a drink. Okay, I put one already. So margarita, it's returned the recipe. You see everything, instructions and all this. So when you're doing your software testing and all this, you start validate. I say software testing, API testing. Your own issue will now be to validate the response and all that response that you get back from the APIs that you tested and all that. Follows the same principles of software testing that you're going to use. API testing follows the same principles. So we'll take you through all that. I also found this is API, even for this is another one I found that it returns exchange rates. If it returns exchange rates, you just pass it. It returns exchange rate, USD, all this. None of this is done on our side. We don't need to know how they are calculating it, where they are getting it from. We don't need to know all that. They will just return it for us. So these are mostly examples of GET requests. So a post request. So I created an API, a server that is running on my own server that is running locally. So you see that like before I pass my information. Now I don't want information to be seen by everybody. I want to log in. So I want to send I send it in the I put it in the body. So I want to send my email and my password. My email and my password to the server at the back. You see, these guys, they return my details. And this is my access token. So anytime I'm now sending a request back to them, let's say I want to send money or something. Inside here, I will just put my token. Okay, they've already copied this one. I will just put my token so that anytime I now send a request back, these people will now be like, okay, yes, it is me. It is me that is sending, that is doing that. Let me try and send a request now. And I remove this. No, remove this. M7. So send. Like my password. So you see this error message returned that okay, yeah, this is error and all that. You can send me back an authentication token. So all that, you can do all this, then documentation. I also have how there are documents. Yes, this is how API Postman does that documentation for you. You see, unlike these guys that they just did it. If you're not too familiar with it, you may not too understand how they scatter it. But Postman helps us to arrange it accordingly. You can even group it like this is everything concerning authentication, login. This is the URL. This is what the header should contain. This is what a body should contain. Stuff like that. This is what we are going. All this we can achieve through Postman. We achieve through Postman and be able to do all this by the end of the training. Hopefully, that's all from me.
Thank you so much. And that was just a quick snapshot you gave us about Postman, but there's a lot more to Postman, to be honest. A simple example which I'll give you guys, and which most of us daily engage in, is if you remember, or if you've ever encountered or ever registered on a mobile on a website sends you a link to verify that this is actually your email. They'll send you a link. On that link, there's a token there that is embedded to that link. So what they're using is they want to verify that is actually you registering from your email. One, that link will have your email ID. The other thing is that link will have their own ID, which they've posted to you, so that when you click on that link, it's telling that link to get into their own website and verify. So one is sending a post to the postman, and at the same time is verifying. So all these things is what we engage in, because that link itself is actually a link from the postman or from whatever tool that they've embedded into their website, so that it's going to post that token within that link to you. So all these things are what we do on a normal basis. Really, most of us don't know. Why? It's not that we didn't due diligence to research what the link is, but because it's what some people like me, some people like Enoch, some people who are already in the software testing field used to make our daily livings. And this is something that anyone can get involved in as well. And that's what we're saying. Please come and join us, and let's all be in this same field of software testing. And like I said initially earlier, the bitter truth is you can work as a software tester anywhere in the world. And when you do that, that would make you proficient, which will make you to be able to work any given place in this world. You can work in Nigeria, you can work in Dubai, you can work from Canada, you can work from anywhere in this world, and you'll be in one location. And with this thing called COVID, which has helped a lot of people, now everybody can sit down at home and be working for a company in Canada. You can sit in Kaduna and be working for a company all the way in Australia. You can sit in Japan and be working in a company here in the UK. It doesn't really matter now. All they need is you having that basic knowledge, you having the know-how of what a software tester do, and at the same time, you knowing the right thing to do at the right time. And now let's get back to what we say you need to be able to verify. What does it mean to verification? What does it mean to validate? We need to know the difference between those two terminologies. It is quite easy, 100% easy. Verification, we said, is the process of confirming that software meets its requirement, which has been specifically written out for you. Every requirement that's been stated out. And by so doing, it's done through inspection and walkthrough. What do you mean by inspection? This is something you and your colleagues can do. What do you mean by walkthrough? I can be carrying out a test on an application, and I want to walk it through my colleague to say, mate, I've done this testing. Can you have a look to be sure that whatever I've done is the right thing? I've not missed anything out yet. Then you can easily carry the testing and say, yes, it's working. You've tested the right thing. I can verify that it is meeting the requirement. Used to identify defect in the product early in the lifecycle. And if you guys remember that I talked about software testing lifecycle, or even software development lifecycle, and why and how do you use verification to identify defect? Because if you are involved from the beginning, and the beginning, which is the requirement gathering, you'll be able to verify that, yes, this requirement you're writing, that, oh, you want to be able to jump from a 20-story building, you can't hit your head on the floor. then so doing, sorry, please, can we all mute ourselves? I'm gonna mute everyone now. And so by so doing, you'll be able to know that yes, what you are verifying is meeting the requirements stated out from the onset. And verification is mostly used by testers. But now when we talk about validation, you want to validate that, is this product or is this right product? Is it the right product? Is the process of confirming that it meets the user's requirements. When you're validating something, it is actually done sometimes when the developers are carrying out their own tests. They are validating that their code is right. And there's difference between is the product right and is it the right product? Is the product right means, is it meeting the requirement? Is it meeting the specification? Is it meeting the customer's need? Is it meeting the expectation? And all such. But is it the right product? You can develop the right product and it's not the product that is right for people. It can be the right product, but it might not be the product that every other people within the community wants. That is the two differences. So we need to know how to differentiate between the right product and is the product right as a software tester. And now we now come into what we mean by quality assurance and quality control. When we're talking about quality assurance, it is quite different. And it is something we need to understand that when we talk about quality in a product, quality in a product is defined as meeting the customer's requirements. It is very keen and important to know that when you meet your customer's requirements, you are meeting their standard that is being set out. Their standard that is being set out. And the best measure of quality is when you use the functionality. Is it functioning as expected? Can the users use it? Is it reliable for the users? How is it performing? Is it performing the way it's meant to perform? And how scalable it is? All these acronyms is quite important as a software tester to have that knowledge of the functionality of the application, the usability of the application, how reliable it is, how is it performing to the expectation, and at the same time, how scalable it is. This is quite important. And we now say, okay, yes, I know I'm building a product, but why do I need quality in the product? Why do you go for quality when you're buying gadgets? Why do you go for quality? You don't just want to buy a TV because you want to be watching. You see some people say, no, I need a 75 inches, 4D, 4HKD, whatever aspect it is. All those qualities, they are embedded into it. Why? Because you want the best. Why do you think some people say, oh, I prefer Android to iPhone? Some people say because iPhone is too secure, it doesn't take all the, so I just want something simple, something not too technical. That is the way they see their own quality. And everybody's quality of test is different. And this is why you need to know your customer. And the first thing you need to understand is quality is the important factor that affects an organization's long-term performance. Why do you think mobile phones like Siemens, mobile phones like Nokia, or mobile phones like BlackBerry, they're not in vogue as the two main rivals now? If it's not Samsung, it is iPhone. Right? There's LG there, there's Motorola there, there's Nokia, there's a lot of them, there's Philips, there's a lot of mobile phones, but you are going for quality. And that is why you see the competition between the two of them is why, because they are delivering quality to the customers. And quality improves productivity and competitiveness in any organization, which is 100% guaranteed that we all know these days, that the quality that these two tech giants give is quite important. You see iPhone will tell you, oh, they're producing a new phone with so quality of camera pixel. And Samsung will come out with their own the next 2 months and say, this is their own upgrade they've done as well. And that is where quality comes in. And that is why they give quality to each other on a daily basis. And when we talk about quality assurance, what do we mean? So now we're talking about a planned and systematic set of activities, which is necessary to provide adequate confidence to the customers, confidence on that product, and at the same time, meeting the requirement that has been set out. If you guys understand me now, from the beginning, I've been talking about requirements, specifications, customers need, meeting requirements. All these things is at the backhand of every tester. That is what you in an organization should do. Meet the requirements, provide quality, meet the customer's needs, and that is very key to you as a software tester. To me as a software tester, it is quite important. If I don't meet all those requirements, then there's no how I'll see myself improving. There's no how I'll see myself moving forward in my career as a software tester. And when we talk about quality control, it is also the process by which product quality is compared with the application standard. What are the actions taken when non-conformance is detected? If this thing is not meeting the requirement that's been set up, what do we need to do? Yes, they've told me that this screen is meant to be displaying in such design and the functionality is meant to be this, that. But unfortunately, it's not meeting that requirement. What do you do? Based on the defect that has been detected, you need to know the right process to meet those quality control. And that is where we now bring in all those defects that you said you found. You've seen that, oh, the button is not working. I went to fix my mouthpiece. The mouthpiece is not functioning as expected. There's what we call a defect life cycle as well. Just the way software development has its life cycle, software testing has its life cycle. We also have a defect life cycle or a bug life cycle. When we talk about defect life cycle, it is quite easy, and it is one of the simplest things that a software tester should know. As a tester, you need to understand what a defect life cycle is. When you find a defect and you report it, it might be that you're reporting it to your test manager, to your test lead, or even to the developer themselves. You need to first of all validate or verify that, yes, this is actually a defect. It is actually deviating from the requirements. It is actually not what the requirements say they should do. It's not doing the right thing. And by so doing, you raise that as a defect. It is deferred. If the defect or whatever you raised based on your belief that it is actually a defect and is not a defect, then they defer it. What do they mean? They close it. They say, no, because this is you that are doing the mistake as a tester, this is actually what the requirement says. It might be that you were on holiday when they changed the requirements. It does happen. They can do a quick change on the fly. If you're working in an agile environment, there can be a sporadic change that you yourself as a tester, possibly you didn't attend the meeting that day, and they changed it for the developer to go and refix it or do something different. Based on that, you missed that requirement. And without understanding, you just went and raised the defect. That would defer such things. But if actually it was a defect, what would you do? You raise it and you assign it to wherever it needs to fix it. It might be the developer, it might be your test lead, it might be the defect team. Every organization have their own settings, and whatever settings the organization you're working in are using at that particular period of time, then that is what you need to have an understanding of who to report your defect to. When you report the defect, it needs to be fixed. After it's been fixed, you check it and say, oh, okay, just the way you checked your phone and they say, yes, they fixed it, the earpiece is working or the mouthpiece is working perfectly. Then without understanding, you know, this is the right thing for you to do. You close it. And when it's closed, that is done. But unfortunately, or fortunately for you as a tester, if you see that this thing that fixed, the defect you raised, is still not working the way it's meant to work, what do? You reopen it back and you reassign it back to whoever fixed it. And that is how the defect life cycle goes. When you reopen it, you assign it back, it gets fixed, you retest it, and all such. If you do all such, and all those things are still working as expected, then you know that that needs to be refixed. And when it's refixed, you go through all those cycles again and again and again. So why do we perform software tests on the product? After we've gone through defect lifecycle, after we've been involved in the software development lifecycle, why do we perform software tests on the product? I've said it from the beginning. We save money, we want customers' trust, and all such. This is quite important. It is essential since it makes sure that the customer finds the organization reliable. They trust on your product, and they want everything they are expecting, satisfaction. As a product owner, you want to give your customer satisfaction. And what we need to know that software testing is designed to empower. So this program as well that we're doing, we want to empower students to realize how important their role will be in an organization, in every product. Whatever product that we are developing, we need to know what our roles are. And as a software tester, I tell people, and even I've worked on projects with Wale, I've worked on projects with a lot of people, and I used to tell them when I get in there, I used to make my presence known that, you know what, if I am actually the tester on this project, when I say A, it should be A. When I say B, it should be B. Why? Because I see myself that one, I'm bringing quality to your product, and two, I want your customers to be happy with whatever you push out to them. And I want the product to be good because I want it to be something I can use. You don't want to build a product that you, the person that built the product, cannot use. So you want to build a product that you can use and you can tell people to use it. And that is how I see myself as the last funnel in any product that I engage myself in as a software tester. But yes, when we've talked about software development, software testing, quality control, and all such importance of testing, do we think this is actually something we really want? Do we think this is actually something that is good for me as an individual? Do I think I'm capable to get myself into software testing? Do they really pay a good job the way this guy is just talking about it since morning? Is it paying well? Is it a good career? Is it a good job? Wale said something, and I believe I've said it not once, not twice. If you want to get into technology, IT as a whole, name it, the easiest path, the easiest route, the simplest route to get into IT is to get through software testing. It is the most easy and flexible career so far. You can work from anywhere in the world. You don't need certification to work in Canada. You don't need certification to work in Dubai as a software tester. You don't need certification to work in Australia as a software tester. Fine, if you get to some level, you need to do the foundation certification, which I implore people to do. But if you have the know-how, the knowledge, the training skill sets, mate, you can work anywhere. And I like to tell people, which is part of my secret, my first 3 years as a software tester, I didn't have any certification. I did a training just like this that we are doing. I did a training. And from the training, I started employing, writing out CV, applying for jobs. And the first role I got was more or less like an intern, a junior role. And from there, I scaled up. 1 year, after 1 year, I moved to another organization. It was in my third year that I now, you know what, I think I need to develop myself more. Let me write some certifications so that I can get some better paid jobs. And why? Because I did that because I now know what software is all about. I know the technical part, I know the non-technical part. I see myself as progressing in the career. And that was why I got myself involved into it. And testing is a great starting point for those looking to kickstart their career in technology. I would 100% say that to anyone. If you feel you want to do software testing, please, and please, not even software testing, cybersecurity, business analyst, project management, name it, anything that has to do with IT. It is one of the easiest, because why? You will communicate with everybody in the project. With the security team, with the PM, you will communicate with them. You will meet them on a daily basis within your project. You guys will communicate, you guys will talk. And from there, you will know what their job is. On several locations, I've gotten a job offer that, Oli, do you want to join the PM team? Do you want to join the business analyst team? I'll tell them that no, I'm okay where I am. If you guys need my input, I can give you some nuggets and I can be in your meeting and add some things for you. But where I am, I'm pretty much okay. I sit with stakeholders. I go to stakeholders building, big buildings within the UK, and I sit with them on the panel and we discuss on their product. It's not my product, it's their own product. But what am I doing? I'm giving them quality into their own product, and they take my little me opinion. So this is quite important for us as well. And what can you become as a software tester? There's a various career path within software tester. There's a lot of career path within software testing. Excuse me. The first few years as a software tester is best for everyone to come in as a manual tester. I tell people that, you know what, if you think you want to start software testing and you want to straight jump into automation test, I'm sorry, you're shooting yourself in the leg. Except if you have those language skills, be it Python, Java, JavaScript, name them. So you have all those language, C#, C#++, name it, whatever they call it. You have all those language skills. Then yes, you still need the foundation level of software testing, which is the manual. Because if you don't know how to add a test script, if you don't know how to raise a defect, how would you automate your test case? How would you write them out? And this is quite important. So from there, you can move from being a manual tester to be an automation tester, to be a test lead. Currently, I'm in between stage number 4, 3, test lead and test manager. It all depends on what you want to do in career. But at the same time, you can diversify. You can say, you know what, I don't want to be a software tester anymore. Let me move to something else. And when you want to move to something else, you can move into being a cybersecurity, you can move into being a dev team, you can move to be a product manager or project manager, you can be a business analyst. There's a lot of paths you can move into here. It doesn't have to be that you stick to software testing only. It is quite important that you can move yourself around. And to crown it all, we see people say, do you think there are job opportunities in software testing if I do the training? Do you think I will get a job? Do you think that this job is fit for purpose for me? Is it going to meet my expectation? Would I be able to make a living from it? I would eat my chest and I will tell you categorically that 100% yes. You make not just a living, but a good living if you do the right thing as a software tester. And now let's see some statistics. These are live statistics, which I got, I think on Friday or Thursday, about software testing roles. What are the contract rules? What percentage increase has happened within the last few years as a software tester? Up to 2022. You can see the difference from 2020 to 2022, from 1,644 roles. I think that's more than 200% increase, because it has more than almost 5 times the number of the people outside that needs the role, or the roles that are requiring software testing. And we can see the rate, how it's improved. I just used UK rate here. You can see the difference from £270 per day in 2020. Now they pay people as much as £450 per day. And we can see that within London and outside London. And now going to the rest of the world, Europe and the other continents, we can see the difference. It's quite high. So people saying, I don't think there's software testing job outside, I don't think I'll get a role, is a big lie, a very big, fat lie. I'll tell you that's not the truth, because the roles are there. It just requires your input. And I'll use myself as a good example here. When I started software testing, I was meant to do a 3 months training. 3 months. People don't do 3 months training now. It's a long thing for people to do. Why? Because they've mashed the training together. And now trainings are more or less 6 weeks, 2 months, 1 month training. And when they do the training, they'll give you the practicals. But when I was doing my training, they didn't do practicals for me, man. There was no practical. It was proper 3 months theory that I did. I was learning practicals myself, self-study. But within the 3 months, the first 2 months of that training, why? Because I was studying, I was researching, I was watching YouTube, I was watching a lot of people, and I had people that I was looking up to that were mentoring me, that are already in the field, 5, 10, 15 years into the field. That when I research, I send questions to them, they'll tell me, go and read through this. I was buying books, I was reading. 2 months into my training, I got my first role. 2 months, jokes apart, and I can tell you who trained me, to go and ask him, and he would tell you straight away how I got my first role. It was quite interesting. It was my first interview ever as a software, because I've done proper preparation for myself. And I tell people, prepare yourself. If you don't prepare yourself, if the opportunity comes, you won't take it. So who are those that should take this training, or who wants to take the course? Everybody. That's my opinion. Everybody that wants to get into technology should take it. Or anyone that have attention to details, or you want to be a business analyst, or you're already in a business analyst role and you want to change your career, or you want to be a project manager, scrum master, product owner, or you want to even be a software developer. Anything you want to be, as long as it's within the IT field, please and please and please enroll for this program and this course. It is quite important. So, questions, questions, and questions. It's question time. All right, Wale, have we got any questions?
So Muiwa, Enoch, thank you both. Fantastic delivery. This is a full pack training on its own. So we want to say thank you to everyone that joined the session. Some people have dropped off. I can understand. Today is Saturday. Perhaps you have, places that you need to go to. Saturday is supposed to be when we're resting and also bonding with the family. All right. For those people that have waited behind, thank you. Those that couldn't wait till the end, thank you. Olu and Enoch, fantastic delivery as well. Some of you have asked the question, is the session recorded? Yes, we do. If you registered via the link that Timothy shared earlier on, I'm not talking about the link that we just put there now. If you had registered initially, then we would make this recording available to you, or specifically anybody that asks. So chances are we might not be able to put this on the YouTube channel, but we have a private location where we drop all of our recordings. So if you're really keen and you want to listen to it again, please by all means, just indicate so, or get in touch with us, and we would give you access to the recording. Just to let you know that the main training will start on the 5th of September. I think Timothy dropped the link here. So if you look into your chat box, can the software developer create a link to the website? I'm not sure about that question. Maybe Miwa, you want to look at that later. Can the software developer create a link to the website? I'm not sure. You may have to Techno B. You may have to put a little bit of context to your question. I don't understand what that is. So the main training will start on the 5th of September. Anyone that is interested, so you can imagine if we've given you a whole lot today, which is just the tip of the iceberg, then you can imagine the full shebang of the training itself. All right, that is going to be more well encompassing. We would have something loaded into it. The few things that we forgot to mention in our training, you would get trained, you would get the opportunity to work on a live project. We're constantly developing software. The name of the brand or the name of the business is Smart Safe Consulting. The training arm of the business is Smart Learning. All right. So for some of you that wanted to participate in the main training or are interested, we will train you. Then we will spend more time on the practical. This is where you get the opportunity to put into practice what you have been taught. All right. What usually follow as well is, we support our student after the practical to help them to put their CV together. All right. So if you're interested, then you will not only just get the training, you won't only just get the practical, you would also get the opportunity, to get an expert from our business that would help you with your CV writing. Peradventure, if you want to go as far as, applying, for roles, then, I would also support you as well in that area. All right. It means that once you secure an interview, it will be available, to support you up until you are able to get that job. One thing that we're adding to the existing training pack is the API testing. All right. So apart from the normal, training module that we have, we have added API into it. The good thing is you also get the opportunity to put that into practice on our platform. We have product that we're developing at the moment, and we have a whole lot of APIs as well. So the gentleman that showed you the API, Enoch, is one of our database engineer. So he would undo that aspect for you if you wanted to actually learn a lot about API. We also do something on our platform. This is just an add-on as well. Every three months quarterly, we bring in new hires. People can actually do intern with us. The internship is not automatic. It's important that I say that, all right? This training will cover everything that you learn around software testing. It would cover it as well to the practical viewpoint, where we'll give you access to some toolings, particularly Jira. You will know how to use Jira. You'll be trained on that one, but you would also learn how to use it as well. And other tooling that we use for, our manual testing, and particularly now, the API, which we're going to be using Postman and all the toolings as well. So you will get access to that. But on our internship, we do that every three months. All right. So chances are, if you train with us and you still want to learn, still want to put into practice what you've been taught, you would apply for internship. If you're successful, then we can also take you on that one as well. And it's irrespective of where you are in the world. Just like we were said, so whether you're in Nigeria, you're in America, you're in Europe, anywhere in the world, you can always be part of that program as well. As we are a software development company, and most of our activities is also predominantly based on online as well. So all of our staffs and people that work for us, they are in various regions, across the world. So I will do a quick recap again for you. The actual training, or the main training, is starting on the 5th of September. We will do 2 weeks, intensive training. Then you will now get, between 2 weeks and another 1 month of practical. All right. After the practical, we'll support you with your CV. If we, as of when we're doing our internship and we have that advertised, you can apply for it. If you're successful, then we can take you on our internship as well. If you're successful, that is not automatic. So I don't want you, to quote me and say, "Oh, you give us internship." No. All right. We do that every 2 to 3 months. If you apply and you're successful, we can take you on that one, and that could also form learning. Someone is the API an app or a website on its own. Meanwhile, you would answer that. Since this gentleman is a newbie to software testing, so he's asking a lot of questions that will probably require some help. All right, he's asking whether API is an app or whether it's a website. All right. So Meanwhile would answer that question. So we're giving 5% discount off for the main training. All right. So if you register today, I will put out the link here again for some of you that you're still here. All right. That is the link. For anyone that registered today, they would automatically get 5% discount. All right, from the training price. All right, anyone that registered today, not tomorrow, but if you indicated interest today, we're not saying you should make payment today, but if you indicate interest today that you are coming, all right, by registering, then you will get that 5% off on our next training. All right, so thank you guys. I hope you have really enjoyed this section. And I know that quite a number of you did. So if there are any other questions, please let us know now. We would be more than happy to answer those questions, and then we'll take it from there. So Miwa, over to you, and thank you.
Thanks, Wale. Thank you so much for that. So just like you said, it's a 6 weeks training. So the training will be starting on the 5th of September. The first 2 weeks will be purely theory, and the times are 7 p.m. UK time, 7 p.m. UK time. And the last 4 weeks, it's purely practicals. We'll be using all the various tools that are mostly recognized and mostly vastly used by the organizations around the world. This is Jira. And at the same time, the testing tools we'll be using are Sapphire. And we're looking into bringing in Postman, which is definitely coming in this session. So we'll be doing API testing. So API testing is not a tool. the tool that we use for API is Postman. So you ask, is API an app? No, it's not an app. It is part of application interface for testing. So it's more or less about integration testing, how two different applications, two different standalone applications can interact with themselves. So it's not a tool, there's a tool that you use, which is Postman. That's the most used one. There are various tools you can use for API testing. So can you use a Chromebook laptop for this course? As long as you can access Zoom on whatever platform you want to access Zoom, yes, you can. But the thing at the same time is we'll be sending out all the recordings after each sessions on a daily basis. So if the sessions are done in the evening, by the morning, you get a recording, and that will even help you to self-study as well. Like I said, the training is starting on the 5th of September. The first 2 weeks is 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. UK time, 2 hours, Monday to Friday for the first 2 weeks. The last 4 weeks is 3 days in a week, and at the same time, 7 to 9. The last 4 weeks is 3 days in a week, the same time. So the recording for this session, just as we've said, is going to be sent to whoever has registered with us, personally to their emails. And Wale has said there's no possibility of us putting it on YouTube this time. I don't know how that's going to work.
So that we can just protect ourselves, what we do is we would, so Clara is asking a few questions. All right, so Techno, there's a guy called Techno B. I believe that's your phone. All right. So if you want the recording, just let us know. If you register with us, you would have received an email with us. Just reply to the email that you want the recording, but we'll send it to you. When we say we'll send it to you, we would give you a username and password that you use to access the recording. We can do that for you, no problem. I think there's a question around, yes, it's not just on Monday. All right, somebody was saying whether this is just on Monday training. No, this is GD Oloko. No, it is not Monday. So it's a 2 weeks full, training. It starts on Monday the 5th, 2 hours per section across 2 weeks. So when I say 2 weeks, like 14 days, all right, you will be trained, consistently for 14 days, all right, excluding weekend, so if I make sure that I just let you know. But each time that you're trained is going to take between 2 and 2.5 hours, and that session will be recorded. I hope that answered your question across. But you see, the icing on the cake is the practical. All right, this is where likes of Olu and Enoch will now bring you in and begin to show you some of the project that we're working on, and you can put that into practice, alongside with other people that, that they're going to be training on. Clara was asking the question about, thank you for the info. So Clara was asking a question around the training fee. The training fee is £650. 650 pounds. So if you register today, I'm not saying don't make payment, because we still have, well, if you want to make payments, up to you, but it's 650 pounds, but you will get 5% off, all right, if you register today, and you can split your payment into 2 installments, all right? So what that simply means is, it'll be on or before the training, you have to pay half of it, all right? Then the other half when we get a month into the training, all right? So before you start the practical with us, the other half are to come, all right? I hope that answers your question, Clara. And also, I think Jide said, the information is fine. All right. We will go on. If there are any other things that any other information that you wanted to pass on.
So yeah, you said it all, to be honest. So if they are pretty much interested, yes, they can jump on.
Yes, please, if you are, use that link. We can drop the link here again for you to join. It's important that we also say that so many pathway, from software testing into other area of technology. Some of you, you might not have the skill set at the moment, and you might thinking, oh, the future is the cloud. Absolutely, the future is the cloud. But guess what they do in the cloud? They upload application into it. So when we consume any of the app that we see today, guess what? It's in the cloud. So when you learn this skill, it won't be too long, that you can also become a cloud engineer as well. So there is career progression in software testing. You can migrate or come from software testing background and come into cybersecurity. Don't forget that in cybersecurity, we also do what we call security testing as well. Some of you must have heard about pen test, and also you must have heard about vulnerability management testing, or security testing as it were. So whatever that Olu teaches you here, it would be the foundation that you could also take, all right, or that you could, the foundation that would help you, to even reach out to other area of, to other career path or other possible career path, even in cybersecurity. The good news is, see, you're not talking to, someone or, that we have read books and, we're showing you stuff, we have, the practical knowledge of how this thing works, all right? So between me and some of my tutors, we have to close to 18 to 20 years experience. Personally, on myself, I've been in cybersecurity for 18 years, so I didn't just come into it, I've learned my way into it. And there is no domain within cybersecurity that I haven't had the opportunity, to work in. So the same as well for Muiwa as well. And we have various people. We have developers that you can interact with. All right. We have product, manager that you can interact with. We have UI UX that you can interact with. We have, then the quality team as well that you can interact with. We have cybersecurity that you can. So it's a full rounded. So for anybody that's going to be, get opportunity to work, to train with us, or perhaps even if you're lucky, to do internship, then you will get all of that well-rounded experience and knowledge. When you walk into an interview, they will not just only be asking you about what you have done, in software testing. At least you will make it more relatable in terms of, how, you have also worked with other stakeholders as well. And that's exactly what we're giving you on this platform. We're not going to be pointing you to one random website to go and test. No, it's our own product that we have developed from ground up that you get the opportunity, to test on. And like I said, the icing on the cake is the fact that, the business now, is also looking to give some people further help or further opportunity to learn on our platform through our internship program. It's important that I say this, it is not automatic. Our internship is usually 3 months. We're taking some new batch, in by God's grace in September. That is going to work with us. But, if you're persistent and, you feel that there's something for you along the line of, in software testing, they're more than happy, to support you. Let me just quickly say this, whilst, sometimes people are very, very, they get excited and get pumped up, like this, when they come for, webinars like this, and they really wanted to just get into cybersecurity. Please, 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 if this is for you, please come with all seriousness. When I say seriousness, don't pay me any money or pay us, the services that we have given to you if you're not ready to go and apply for roles. All right. If we train you and you can't just take your CV and apply for job, don't come. Yeah, you can just go somewhere else. You see, we want you to be able to measure how effective our program is, by you getting a job. So if Oli is going to spend all the time to support you and work very hard, to even get to the point of writing your CV, and you cannot, click and go to the job board and apply for roles, then this is not a place for you. Don't come. You can go and apply somewhere else. But if you're ready and you're the type that you say, you know what, I give myself 3 months, I get trained in the next 2 months and I want to hit the ground running by applying for a role, then this is the place. That is the sort of people that we want to work with. All right. I don't mind 5 people, 10 people, but if you're ready to roll off your sleeves and work, all right, and take this thing, and go and work. There are people in Nigeria that they're applying for roles. You see, the good thing is, I know everybody is doing the jackpotting and, you're going, everybody's moving and migrating. There's nothing wrong in it. But you see, your passport or what you trade is your skills. So by the time you go to Canada, you go to US, the job is not guaranteed. So you need skills. But truth be told, you can be in Nigeria or be in Ghana or be in Doha or be in Zimbabwe or anywhere in the world and get a job in America. Yeah, people do it. It's the skills that you're trading. So get skilled up, all right, with what we're showing you, and you can be anywhere in the world. and still be earning the foreign currency that you desire and enjoy the hot weather in Africa, and earn your good money. All right. So if you imagine you're earning like $4,000 or maybe $3,000 per month, change that to some currency in Africa. You can imagine how much that is. So the thing is, be skilled. All right, be skilled. Muiwa said it all. What's really interesting about IT job is is a universal skill or universal currency. It becomes a legal tender anywhere in the world. If you go to America now, software tester here is a software tester in America. Software tester here is a software tester in UK. Software tester in Nigeria is a software tester in Canada. It's the same thing. You're not doing any exchange program, for someone to test your knowledge. So get skilled up. But more importantly, like I said, if you're really keen, the link is there. Click on it and register. All right, for today, and you get that 5% discount off. But if you don't remember anything today, just remember that we're only looking for those, all right, that are ready to roll off their sleeve. And I'm saying this with all sense of responsibility. We don't have problems teaching people. We don't have problems having, sleepless nights to support you. We even went ahead and say, internship program, come and take it, come and do it. But if you're not going to apply for roles, then please don't come. You can go somewhere else. All right. I say that because, it's just important. All right. It's not expensive compared to some other things, other places, but we just want serious people, that would be very angry with what they don't have at the moment and say, what, in 3 months, give me 3 months. I want to be out there. I want to go and apply for roles. Those are the people that we're looking for. All right. So thank you, gentlemen and ladies. If there are any other questions, so for those that are trying to make transition from tech support role into software testing, would you need strong programming skill? No. Olu will teach you everything. The good thing as well, all right, is little programming skill like scripting and all of. Olu will teach you all the scripting. If you remember Jide earlier on, I said something that what you will get from us. You see, we're a business, we're a company. All right, I have programmers, I have people that teach programming, or I have UI UX person. I have Olu as my lead, software testing. Olu works for different organizations. Then I have other people as well that support him, like Tamila and Mayowa that support it. So it's full-rounded. You will get opportunity to talk to all of these people. So you see, you will not only just understand software testing in isolation. You would understand software testing, in a more well-rounded. What it means when a developer says, when a UI UX person say, this is my design, and you're testing it. What it means, when a developer commit their code, into an environment, and you are there as well helping to test. So you would understand it, the relationship, that you would have with all the stakeholder. That's the difference. So you don't go into an interview, they ask you a question that throws you off balance because you don't understand that relationship. Because we develop our own product. The things that you're testing is not one random website somewhere. We develop it, so we understand it in and out. I hope that helps to answer your question. How much does the training cost? We have already put there. It's $650. If you register today, Favor, then is it Favor? If you register today, you'll get 5% discount off. All right. If you click on that link and just do it now, then you are those people that are qualified for 5% off. But anybody that registered tomorrow, no, you pay the full $650, and you get the opportunity to split it into two. All right. Any other question, Muiwa, or do you have anything that you want to say so that we can close?
No, I don't have anything. We can call it a day.
Yeah. All right, guys. So thank you. If you have any question, please put our telephone number there. Timothy, quickly put your telephone number, should in case anybody wanted to get in touch with you from Nigeria. Muiwa, if you quickly do your one again. Yeah, so those are the telephone number. Let's just allow for another 2 or 3 minutes for people to quickly copy it if they need to. And we'll take it from there. Just to say thank you to everyone that you waited to the to the closing of the party. Is a great testament to your person and the interest that you have. So thank you, Adesoji Bilewu. I think I know that gentleman. I know Chris, Immanuel, Francis, Enoch, Stida, Julia Oloko, Maiwa, these are all of our veterans. Moses, Nosa, Labisi, Kemi, you're there as well. Oh, Palmer, great. Patrick, Timothy, thank you for all of your help. We have Vic, we have Yemi, Afola G, or Afola Ju, and then we also have Yomi as well. Great, guys. Thank you. You endured to the end, and you are saved. All right. Good stuff. And see you guys shortly. Bye for now.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. And thanks for staying back with us. We hope to see you soon again.
Bye.
Bye.